Hey Trey, hey David. I have to say, I'm so excited for so many reasons to be here with you both today. First, I'm really excited to have you both present at CBP Connects in Norfolk in February 7th, 8th, and 9th. That's literally going to be here before we know it. But, Scrappy Professionals is so much about relationships. And like so many of us in this weird virtual community that we have, you two only met recently, but you're doing such similar things in the craft beer space. Like, I'm so excited that you finally had the opportunity to connect. And with that said, I'd love for everyone else to hear the story of what you both are doing. And Trey, I'll throw it to you first to let everybody know, what you do in the world.
Sure. Well, my name is Trey. Formerly Tranice Watts. I am one of the co-owners of Patuxent Brewing Company. I also am one of the co-founders of my new project, which is Lifting Lucy. And essentially, those are really the same. We love beer, but at the same time, we really are about fostering inclusion and working with the future generations to make sure that when we need cans, when we need other brewers, when we need all of those things that really entail what's important for brewing, for the beer industry, that we have those people ready and available, because it's important to us. We won't be here forever brewing. We won't be here forever as the CEOs. And so I would want to make sure that we're fostering and developing the next talents to come after us.
And I would love to hear a little bit more about Lifting Lucy and how are you using that initiative to help, make education and craft beer events more accessible.
Definitely. Right now we are really networking, and we've connected and are planning to do a lot of work with a lot of philanthropists, corporations, universities. But essentially it will come back to making sure that women have direct funds, women of color, and that's not just Black. We essentially mean everyone who's of color, to have the education that they need, have the opportunities they need. We have plenty of those available, but we want to make sure that they have access to them. And so again, whether they want to be brewers or whether they want to have a business that helps the brewing industry, we want to make sure that we're really developing that talent and making sure that they understand what they need to succeed, and be, have longevity in this industry. So that's in a nutshell what we're doing, but really it's about direct funding to these women so that they can participate, so that they can attend, but also so that they can just better themselves. We all want to have that continued learning, and that's what we're planning to do for as many women as we can.
I absolutely love what you stand for, Trey. And David, this flows nicely into what you do because there's so many synergies between both the missions that you both have. So could you explain a little bit about who you are and what you do in craft beer?
Sure. I'm Dave, calling in from our cool ship room here at Trace Brewing in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Super excited to present with Trey, and Angie, thank you for the opportunity. At Trace Brewing, the way that we are doing our part in trying to diversify the American brewing industry is through a 6-month paid vocational brewing program that we started last year in 2020. The program is geared to bringing in underrepresented groups that are typically underrepresented in the brewing world and giving them a chance at starting a brewing career. And so we've had 2 vocational brewers go through our program last year. Both now have full-time jobs at breweries here in Pittsburgh. We just selected our next 2 vocational brewers for the terms that I'll start in January 2022. And so a lot of what I'll be talking about is, how we went about creating the program, how we go about selecting the candidates, how we go about training them, and then getting them ready for the workforce. And where we really intersect with the great work that Trey's doing is figuring out how other breweries can emulate programs like this, and especially find funding, which is typically the biggest hurdle. So whether it's working with city or state or federal grant applications, whether it's working with private or public foundations, tapping into those workforce grants that are typically overlooked in the brewing industry.
I have to ask, at this point in time, I know you haven't known each other long, but can you finish each other's sentences?
Almost, we probably could.
Maybe by February.
You probably will be there because you're both so passionate about the same things, but you had only connected recently. And I felt like it was an opportunity too good not to miss because, Trey, we were having a conversation about how to get you involved. And David, you had just presented at the fall virtual conference, and we were talking about how to get you involved in the in-person events. And it just made sense to collaborate. And I'm so excited this came to be. And what will you two be talking about in February in Virginia?
Yeah, so we'll let's kind of start with an overlook of the American craft brewing industry and how we got to where we are going into 2022 with nearly 10,000 breweries and the lack of diversity. Whether you're talking about race or gender or sexual preference or socioeconomic status or educational background, and looking at it from a systemic issue and then trying to present solutions to that systemic problem through training programs that are either being used right now or just theoretically could be applied to situations that other brewers or brewery owners are in.
I think that's important, especially because a lot of us are still considered small breweries, right? We don't have millions of dollars laying around, but I think that you all agree that we all do care about everything else that's going on outside of our brewing, little brew tap room. So finding those funds, making sure that we have, the resources we need so that we can also be helpful to our communities is extremely important. So I'm just excited to see Dave and learn more about what he's doing as well.
Definitely. Now, Dave, you presented virtually for us, and it's been great to get that information out there and just all the wonderful things that you're doing. And Trey, you had the opportunity to speak at CBC this recently in Denver. But one unique thing about our event is going to be a little bit more intimate. And for both of you, why are you excited to participate in a smaller event? What do you think the opportunity is there?
I think for me, the opportunity, in a smaller event is to be able to hear about each brewery's trials and tribulations in trying to diversify the industry. And perhaps we're able to have a back and forth with those in attendance and be able to apply our backgrounds and our experiences to their situations, because it's never going to be apples to apples. Everyone's going to be either dealing with funding issues or perhaps community pushback or obstacles in just getting their voice out there and letting people know that programs like this exist. And so our hope is that by combining our knowledge and experience, we can at least provide either the solution or a piece of the solution in trying to achieve the same goal.
And I know a lot of the attendees will be really excited from learning from you and taking those strategies back to implement these programs at their breweries. And Trey, you and I were lucky enough to meet face-to-face out at Lady Justice Brewing. I think we bumped into each other quite a few more times out in Colorado. But, I wish we got to hang out more. And that's one of the reasons I'm so excited to see you in Virginia, because we're not just going to have those 5 minutes in a crowded bar, screaming over trivia night to try to have that conversation, which was a good time. But, we're going to see each other and have beers 3 nights in a row. We're going to get to hang out. We're going to ask each other questions, learn from one another. People are going to get to come approach you both about your presentation and say, hey, I really liked what you said today, but, what do you think I can do in my tap room? And I love the share of information. I'm so looking forward to that. And
absolutely.
As I mentioned, Virginia's going to be here literally in 2 months away. So I'm excited to see you both February 7th, 8th, and 9th in Norfolk, Virginia. And anything else? I wish both of you a happy holiday season. And what else are you looking forward to in 2022?
Oh, goodness. I see Dave's eyes.
I don't.
I'm going to speak for Dave and say a lot more funding so that he can make even more of an amazing impact, especially on the East Coast, where things are a little bit slower, particularly in certain areas of the East Coast than the West Coast when it comes to the brewing industry, and really kind of, honing in on the talents of people that we necessarily haven't had a chance to do so with. So for me, that's going to be the big plus, just to really, get going, onward and upward.
It's going to be a great year.
That sounds great. I'll echo that. I look forward to that.
Fantastic. Well, we'll see everybody in Virginia February 7th, 8th, and 9th, 2022, cbpconnects.com. If you need more information. See you in the new year. Cheers, everybody.